Hey, you know what's interesting? This is Rob Gill, and what's interesting is there is no overnight success. There's no quick path to financial freedom. And if anybody tells you that, please don't let them in your house. They're going to rob your jewelry. If you buy something when something says, hey, read this book and everything's going to change overnight, just don't do it. Please, for the love of God, don't do it. So today what we're going to talk about is how to achieve financial independence and grow wealth. All right, let's get into it. This is Rob Gill, Epic Financial Strategies, and let's talk about mindset, which leads to financial independence. Financial independence does not show up at the front door. There's no, and it says, here's financial independence. It is a daily process. It is something that begins when you wake up every morning. What is your ritual? What are your habits? What are the questions that you're asking yourself? What are your goals and objectives? What is your philosophy, and why do you want financial independence? Do you want financial independence so you could just travel the world? Or do you want financial independence so you could give back to communities, contribute to communities, and then through that contribution continue to grow even more? These are really good questions that you have to ask yourself. And then once you decide what your why is, basically what is your outcome, what are you gonna do every single day to show up no matter what's going on externally in a congruent manner that sits and fits with what your outcome is? All right, so let's talk about it. Financial independence. Financial independence for me is to do what you want, when you want, with who you want, whoever you want, however you want, and at the end of the day with integrity. If you're doing everything with integrity, then good things are always gonna happen. So let's talk about money. Money's a charge. Money's a mindset. If you have a lot of money, it makes you even more of who you are without money. In other words, if you're kind of a mean person, now all of a sudden you got a lot of money, you're probably a little bit more mean. If you're a giving, nice person, you probably are even more of a giving and more of a nice person. So the question I say to myself every single day is, what can I learn from this situation? How could I grow financially? What do I need to do to have fun while I'm growing financially? And how do I grow continuously through contribution? So for me, I haven't had a drink since July 1996. One day at a time, knock on wood. My number one mission in life is to stay sober one day at a time and to help other alcoholics achieve sobriety, right? You're saying, Rob, what does this have to do with money? Well, it has everything to do with money. Because if I'm drinking and if I'm living the path that I used to live in the past, then there's no way that I'm on this camera right now. There's no way that you're seeing this video because I'm either dead or in jail, right? And that's because I came from a background, loving parents, blue collar, no education. There was drugs, there was alcohol in my family, and as a result of that, I lived a life of self-imprisonment and scarcity when it came to money and being able to achieve anything. I always felt like everybody was better. We always had second and third hand cars, and my parents all the time mismanaged money. They would bounce checks. And the thing is, the neighborhood I grew up in, although I give credit to everything that came from the way I grew up, part of that was, having to develop a tough skin because everybody knew who was an alcoholic and everybody knew who bounced checks. So because of that background, and if anybody out there has that experience or can relate to that, understand there's another side to that. And it starts with asking yourself the proper questions. So if you have a 9-to-5 job and you're like, Rob, there's no way I could become independently wealthy. Well, I'm gonna say, look, if you're working 8 hours for somebody else, come home at night, take care of your business, and then create a business where you're working for yourself. And there's no glamour in anything I'm talking about. Whenever we see a movie of success or you read an article about somebody that achieved the highest level, they're really not telling you what they did in the early phases to get there, in the arduous phase, long before momentum starts kicking in. The key is, though, make sure that whatever you're doing from 6 to 10 o'clock at night, it's congruent with who you are, and that you're sending a message that's helping people. If you're helping people first, if you're serving others and it's tied to a business, 9 times out of 10, if there's genuine love in your heart and you're doing it genuinely to provide education, to provide hope for people, to provide a path for people, then what's gonna happen is you'll begin to start achieving financial success. That is not financial independence yet. Financial independence comes as this success is happening and you're, once again, paying yourself first and you're saving money on a monthly basis and you're beginning to connect people to help them so they can help other people. And as a result of ecosystem mergers and really staying, once again, congruent to who you are from your core value perspective, that's when you begin to generate wealth. Now, you have to watch out as the trappings of success come your way, right? Don't buy a house too big. Don't buy a car too big. Don't spend money fruitlessly. That could be tapping into your ego. Back in 2009, I bought a boxing promotional company for $100,000. That was all ego. It was one of the worst investment decisions I ever made in my life. I would never, if I could go back in time, I wouldn't do it. That's how bad it was, right? Non-judgment on who I did it with, but the why I did it, it was all about my ego. I had a chain, I had a Mercedes, and now I owned a boxing promotional company. That's not the right way to generate wealth. That's not the right way to become independently financially successful. So now, once I began to get honest with myself, and this happened between, it was a slow migration between 2013, 14, and 15. There was a lot of uncertainty here at Epic. But circling into 15, 16, and 17, as I began to educate myself and read books and surround myself with people that had been there, done that, no different than these video cameras right now. There are two women behind this camera that are successful on sending messages out to YouTube, right? With influencers that are out there. I tried doing YouTube videos on my own. It was like I was walking up and down my driveway talking about innovation. Like that was my idea of impacting the world. My point is, once you begin to congruently tie your message to people that are smarter than you in the space of what you're trying to do or have more experience, that's when the acceleration begins. I got rid of I know-itis, it's a disease, and I began to become a student again. And that's where the wealth started to get created. The financial independence started to get created. I now own 6 different businesses. As a result of these 6 different businesses, we have money that's coming in from all different directions, and we give back and we contribute back. I remember I was talking to somebody the other day and I said, listen, I want to keep making money that, obviously I want to be able to pay my bills. I want to keep the business, but every dollar extra after I pay myself first, after that I'm contributing to foundations and being able to make the world a better place any way I can, I want to deploy it back into the business to keep growing the business. That's my goal because I want my message to get out there and I want to train other people in my industry to do what I'm doing so it could impact you. If I could do it, trust me, you could do it. So let's do a quick recap. In 2008, I had a gold chain as I was making money. It was actually diamonds with a cross. I had a Mercedes and I bought a boxing promotional company, and all of that led to disaster by the time I got to 2012. At that particular point, I began to ask myself a different question. The question led me to get mentors in my life that had been there, done that are proven winners in their space. Thus began the financial independence to where we are today. So if you want to get started, the first thing I would recommend you do is find yourself a mentor at the highest level of whatever business you're in that has proven, been there, done that, and do what they're doing plus 10%. If you do what they're doing plus 10%, what's going to happen is you have a very good chance of success. Always remember though, as you climb the wall of success, if you truly want financial independence, it's about contribution and it's about growth. As you begin to contribute, you're going to grow, contribute more and grow, and then you're going to have a stacking sensation as long as it's tied to your why and you truly in your heart want to make the world a better place. And remember, you're doing this because if you have a 9-to-5 job, you got to do it from 6 to 10 o'clock at night. There is no glamour. You're digging proverbial ditches every single day. Own it, love it, feel it, wake up to it. So we do money mindset videos all the time. And remember, once you have an identity of what you want, there's another stage to this, and that's being able to have the money mindset that goes with the right questions. Go check out this video over here. It's going to take you a little bit deeper into that success process.